A group of 21 Filipino UN peacekeepers captured by rebels in Syria have arrived in Jordan after being released. They've been held by a Syrian rebel faction for 4 days. Officials, though, say the men are all in good health, as Beth McLeod reports.
After 3 days being held hostage by Syrian rebels, 21 UN peacekeepers have been released to Jordanian authorities.
The hostage operation is over, and they are all right. They made it to Jordan. It was a long and hard negotiation.
The Filipino soldiers were abducted on Wednesday on the Syrian side of the separation line of the Golan Heights, and they were reportedly being held in the village of Al-Jamla. A rebel group calling themselves the Martyrs of Yarmouk had claimed responsibility. They said they had no intention of hurting the UN soldiers, but wanted Syrian troops to stop shelling them.
UN officials say the Filipino troops arrived in neighboring Jordan on Saturday as a result of negotiations between the United Nations and the Syrian rebels. Details of the negotiations have not been disclosed. The peacekeepers are reported to be in good shape. They're part of a UN mission monitoring a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Syria. The peacekeepers were held in smaller groups at several locations. The insurgents demanded that the Syrian government forces withdraw from a nearby village. UN Secretary General Pan Ki-moon welcomed the safe release of the hostages. Pan urged all sides in the conflict to respect the UN peacekeeping mission's impartiality as well as their security and freedom of movement.
The last few days have obviously been a very tense time here at the United Nations. Now the peacekeepers have been released. There will be some relief here, but I think many questions that they still have to answer about the future of this mission, the UN Disengagement Observer Force that has been there for nearly 40 years in the Golan Heights, ever since the end of the 1973 Arab-Israeli War, trying to keep the truce there, patrolling this area. That's going to be difficult for them to do now. There is the continuing threat of being captured, also the continuing threat of the bombardment, of the shelling, because this is an active war zone on the Syrian side. I know there's some nervousness among the countries that are contributing troops. Already the Croatians have said they're thinking of pulling out their peacekeepers, and I'm sure there are discussions going on right now after what's happened in the Philippines government.